reckon I use the internet about 2 hours a day. I'd say at least most of that is at work, but then I use it for my own personal stuff like everyone else does.
I use it for about an hour a day.
I spend about an hour a day on the internet.
Including work, I would say I probably spend about 6 hours on the internet a day.
Probably about an hour if I do go on.
I probably spend about 3 hours actively online in a day, but that most of that would be emailing. It's not surfing and looking at stuff, and that is only because I've got broadband at work, so I'm online all the time.
Hours per day. For me, I've got it in my house, so I use it all night for about 6-7 hours a day.
I use it every day for, I don't know, an hour or so.
I suppose I spend between an hour and 2 hours a day on the internet.
I probably use the internet quite a lot per day, actually. I'd say 2 to 3 hours a day in the evening. At work, I use it a lot. Probably, again, about 2 or 3 hours a day at work as well.
I use it for emails, reading the news, some internet shopping.
I'm on the internet, the things that I'd spend most of my time are on band sites and band forums, so I can find out what's happening, what's going on.
For Yahoo for my emails, Google, MSN, Messenger, I use that quite a bit.
I use it a lot to find out about environmental issues and new energy resource issues, so informational purposes.
Again, another slightly embarrassing one is at Channel 5's homepage, because of pressures of work, I now follow Home and Away by reading their website and not watching the programme.
Email at the top, and then Facebook, MySpace,
Wikipedia, obviously Google as a starting point.
I also like to check out eBay, that's a pretty cool site. Facebook and MySpace. MySpace not so much, it's a bit dated.
Facebook.
Emails.
Emails.
Googling. Yeah.
Google Map.
Google
Images.
Google
Multi-map.
emails, yeah.
I've now discovered the joys of Facebook, so I will throw potatoes at people, and I licked somebody online only the other night.
Chat to friends.
Yeah, I go on MSN, I go on MySpace, Facebook. Basically, just like network.
Yeah.
Instant messaging's not as popular now because you can find what anyone's doing on Facebook.
Yeah.
What I don't use it for are things like Facebook and those sort of contact sites.
Facebook would have to be one of my top ones. Obviously my email page. There's a BMW website that I use, which is one of my hobbies.
And also just check if there's any music news and Transformers news, because I'm a Transformers fan in that.
And then a site called blabbermouth.net, which tells me all the news about the metal scene.
Now I moved on here, I don't really check the newspapers anymore, which is quite sad. But if I need to know anything, I'll just go like on BBC or Google it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's quite handy.
I use it for a lot of business information where there are a considerable number of commercial databases which I can access.
For information, you just rely on it. Wikipedia, maybe. You know, I'm there quite often, relying on information from there. Whereas before, I'd probably have to look up in a book, or God forbid, go to a library. So yeah, totally changed. We rely on it much more now.